Hello, everyone. This is Pinak Kulkarni, your host for today's webinar on a very unique theme today. How does women leadership in procurement look across different continents? We've got panelists from three different continents of the world, and it's going to be a privilege to host them for the discussion today. Uh, as you know, this is our series of procurement clinic webinars, and we consistently take feedback from all of you. We are extremely thrilled that many of you come back to us, letting us know that uh, the clinics are helping you to shape up your thought processes. They are delving into areas of procurement which you think are extremely crucial. And in a capsule of webinars, we are able to capture that. So, on behalf of SPG leaders, thank all of you for your valuable feedback, which is helping us. I mean, it's a forum of all of us, and we are all trying to shape it up together. Today's webinar, I'm very sure, is going to be one of them which adds value because uh, there is a sense that the domain that all of you and I have been part of for now multiple decades uh, is undergoing a tremendous change, not only in terms of its contribution to company strategy, but in terms of the character that we need to build. And when we talk about building a character, who else but a woman represents the best of the character? So our talk today is with extremely knowledgeable, long-spanning career women in procurement. Now, before we get into that discussion, we have got Gautam, who is the co-founder and chief operating officer of SPG Leaders. So maybe I'll request Gautam for a quick talk around what SPG is and what it does.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pinak. Firstly, I would like to welcome all of you to this fifth episode of Procurement Clinic. So we have three amazing ladies from this profession coming from three continents. So one is India, one is South Africa, and one is USA. So a warm welcome to all of you. Warm welcome to you, Pinak. So SPG Leaders is basically stands for Supply Chain and Procurement Group. We are one of the first global community which is completely supplier free and non-sponsored. We believe in straight conversations without filter talks, and whatever comes out of the heart, we do. So SPG stands on three pillars. One is networking, one is learning, and one is career development. So in networking, we hold physical and virtual events where we get procurement professionals on one platform where they can exchange their ideas and take back learnings with them. Second one is learning, in which we, are in the process of developing some curated courses for supply chain procurement professionals. So they will be launched sometime very soon. And in career development, we have a section where we help people enhance their career in this profession. So whether it is career guidance, certification, training, coaching, mentoring, whatever it is. So these are the services that we provide, and this community is very unique. It is only for supply chain and procurement professionals, and the response has been good. Like in the last 5 to 6 months since we started, we were able to manage to get over 1,000 members from across 21 countries. So which is a good achievement. And thanks again all for your support. And Pinak, you can take it over from here.
Thank you so much. And for our audience, let me introduce the three panelists for the day. We have Miss Brown, who is a senior procurement strategist and independent consultant with 3 decades of experience, works out of communications or even in the technology sectors. Uh, for a person like me who has spent a lot of time in this domain, our acumen on procurement is supplemented with being a trained attorney. Now, this is very unique to have a trained attorney and a procurement professional who has a strategic instinct. Privileged to have her today. Current role, she is part of indirect procurement. She specializes in that. While I was speaking with her as part of a webinar talk, what I realized is her fundamental belief that the most important procurement tool at any table is the character. And that character is about building trust with stakeholders or among stakeholders. She is passionate about advancing women in procurement who are ready to lead with both expertise as well as integrity. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown, for accepting the invite to be part of this panel discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Uh, I would take the privilege to introduce our second panelist for the day from the United States of America to India, Miss Ankita. I mean, I know Ankita personally also, and excellent professional in the domain of strategic sourcing and supply chain. Extensive career spanning automotive, consumer electronics, high-tech manufacturing. Uh, I can take the privilege to also talk slightly extensively about her because she has built a great reputation in building resilient global supply chains, managing complex ecosystems, and driving meaningful cost reductions and innovations. And I can vouch for her work, which spans across supply strategy, negotiations, what we are currently facing, particularly in India, because there's a very large initiative in India called Localization. She is part of localization initiatives and has set standards for cross-functional collaboration. She makes her journey very particularly unique because of the breadth of roles she has taken up in procurement, operations, program management. Uh, in my opinion, this acts as a very great advantage for Ankita because that allows her to connect strategic vision with operational execution. Unlike someone like me, for example, I spent all my life only in one domain. Ankita brings that to the table as a panelist today, has a very fundamental, strong belief that empowering people and creating inclusive environments where diverse perspectives can drive better decisions and stronger outcomes is a fundamental pillar for success. Thank you so much, Ankita, for being part of today's panel discussion on women in procurement across continents. I hope we have a very good talk today.
Thank you for the introduction, Pinak. It's a pleasure to be here
Yeah.
and to be part of a conversation around women in procurement leadership. Like I say, procurement is a function that sits at the heart of business transformation today. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
Yes. Thank you so much. And we have one of the most seasoned professionals in this domain as our third panelist, Miss Adele. She's from South Africa. She's a director and strategic sourcing leader with 3 decades of experience transforming procurement into a very powerful driver of business performance. Her career has spanned integrated facilities management, healthcare, food services as a sector, FMCG environments. Uh, she has built procurement function that delivers measurable value across organizations. And it will be a great conversation today when she brings the breadth of the perspective that she has gained by working very closely across finance, operations, and executive leadership teams. In my opinion, that would bring a holistic view to procurement that she brings to the table today. She has been extremely influential in innovation, building resilience, and a firm believer in long term value creation. Adele has also been a strong advocate for women in leadership and for the continued elevation of the procurement profession. And while we were speaking before the webinar as part of our preparation, I realized that profession called procurement always has been in some companies they bluntly call it as a back-end operation, and she continues to work for elevating that profession. Uh, she has worked across the journey from boardrooms to women in leadership positions in procurement. She believes that you need to own your influence through resilience, credibility, and strategic impact. She is passionate about mentoring emerging leaders and contributing to global conversations that position procurement as a critical strategic pillar within the modern organizations. Fabulous to have you, Miss Adel, on this panel today. I really am looking forward to the conversation now.
Thank you so much, Pinak,
Yes.
and Pratham. I really appreciate it, and I'm absolutely humbled by this opportunity. We go through our careers, and we try and influence as many people as we can, and often it goes unseen, and it's only platforms like this, that really raise the issues and bring women together, to see that there's hope, there are ways of getting to where you want to be.
Yes. What you said, and the last sentence of yours actually triggers a thought in my mind, actually. What you said is absolutely right. I mean, embarking on a procurement career is one thing. Accept, you start career somewhere in your life and you embark on a procurement career. But successfully progressing on that chosen career path is a different issue altogether. I mean, you get a lot of chances to get off the career, but you stick to that career for a longer time. While you do that, in my opinion, it requires a lot of deliberation and calibration of many decisions in your life to stick to
Yes.
that procurement career. Will you like to share a few key considerations that one should bear in his mind or in her mind while shaping up a successful procurement career? Because that's a chosen career for many of us now.
So, where I'd like to start is that I want women to know that in South Africa and in my experience, women generally come through the ranks in procurement. You start at the bottom,
Okay.
you get to know everything else. Being in procurement for 30 years, when I joined in procurement, there were no females around the board meeting tables.
Oh,
It was not recognized, and it's been a tough journey, to fight through a male dominant organizations and career paths,
oh,
and then always, the men that would be placed in these roles aren't always qualified for these positions. So I
mm,
think what women bring naturally to the table, and I want every woman to know this, is that coming through the ranks and taking what you need to take to get to the next step, taking abuse, working your way through it, you breed natural
mm.
resilience in your career. It makes you strong. It makes you sometimes have to stand back and look at it like an artist looks at a canvas, to see, okay, this approach is not working. Perhaps I need to look at it in different ways. Collaborate with stakeholders, get their opinions, know what your leaders want,
Mm.
because before you embark on any of on your career, understand what the organization requires, where their core business sits, where they feel that their most value lie, and then you align to those,
Mm.
and with innovation and automation, and don't be afraid to challenge status quo. As a woman in procurement, you need to be brave, and
You
you
need to
need to,
be brave.
yeah,
That's a very
very
important
brave.
statement. Miss
Yeah.
Brown, would you like to add to it before I come to Ankita for this?
Well, yeah, now maybe my experience, I don't know if you really have all of my experience, but I am pretty unique in that I like to say that I was hybrid before the word became popular.
Oh,
So I began my career in the automotive industry and at Chrysler and Ford Motor Company. And while there weren't very many women, I must admit, I didn't have as hard of a time. And I think
okay.
it has a lot to do with, which is why character, in fact, I
Oh,
have what I consider the 5 C's that are very important and that have led to my success. And that is character, competence, collaboration, um, and communication, and creativity. And so I think
Fantastic.
when you approach it, this career, don't get me wrong, racism, sexism, all these isms absolutely exist. But I think what has allowed me to be most successful in navigating is really showing up with character and competence, communication, collaboration, and being creative.
Creative.
I have found that men and women from various backgrounds respect values. Values are universal. So
Mm, mm.
for
True.
me, and because I began my career not just in procurement supply chain, I was a part of engineering and research and development. So coming to the table, having a great deal of technical expertise in whatever
Mm, mm.
category commodity that you represent, work in, industry, I think that will help you to be
Agree.
most successful, because people that's what builds trust, right? When
And
people know that you understand, that you're interested, that you are willing to do whatever it takes to get things done. That's kind of the creativity. So that's really
fantastic.
my spiel
I
there.
like the five C's. I mean, fantastic. I'll come back on this because I have a question which pops up in my mind when I hear your five C's. But before I go there, probably I'll request Ankita to help us understand.
Yeah, I think from my experience, a few things that really shape my journey. First is understanding the business beyond procurement, right? Procurement today is not just about negotiation or cost savings. It is really about understanding how your decisions impact the larger business, whether it's supplier continuity, innovation, or building
Mm, mm,
long-term partnership with supplier. Secondly, I would say I am quite aligned with what Ms. Adele and Ms. Brown said, right? Building credibility. Procurement works with
mm.
many stakeholders and suppliers. So trust becomes extremely important. When people see that you are fair, you are transparent, and you bring insights to the table, procurement naturally starts being seen as a strategic partner rather than,
Mm.
just being a support function.
Mhm.
Third is staying curious and continuously learning. Like the procurement landscape, like you mentioned, right, is evolving very quickly. There are
Yeah, yeah.
digital tools, sustainability expectations, global supply risk. So staying curious and being open to learning is what keeps you relevant. And finally, having the confidence to take ownership. I think
Oh,
especially
that's
for
a very
women,
important.
sometimes we, hesitate to step forward for challenging opportunities. But in my experience, those moments have actually helped me shape my career, right?
Yeah.
For me, again, procurement is a very, very interesting function because it sits right at the intersection of business strategy, supply partnership, and risk management. And one thought that I always keep in my mind is, a successful procurement career is built not just on the deals we negotiate, but on the trust and value that we create over time.
Yes, absolutely. And that trust and value probably is linked with one of the five C's of what Ms. Brown said. And I have a question which comes to my mind because at the end of the day, the creating value as a term that Ankita you used is a very important dimension to procurement leadership. At the end of the day, all procurement leadership is about creating value for its stakeholders.
Mhm.
Now, the basis of value is collaboration.
Mhm.
Ms. Brown, Ms. Adele, Ankita, you've got humongous experience in the domain now. Can I request Ms. Brown to help us appreciate what does it take to build collaboration with all the stakeholders? I mean, we'll be happy if you could share a case study around value creation through collaboration. And because the term has come as a very important term, I will appreciate if all three of you could take it up for us to appreciate this. We can begin with Ms. Brown because that's a very important thing for me. How do I create value through trust? Collaboration is the basis. So how do I collaborate?
Oh, absolutely. And so so that goes back. I mean, being brave, so I'm big on acronyms, folks. And so I have what I also call my beast mindset, and I consider that the five key virtues that you must have. And so that's bravery, enthusiasm, authenticity, self-control, and thankfulness. And
Okay.
collaboration. So when you are, first of all, you are confident in your convictions, right? That gives you the
Mm,
bravery to reach out to people, to connect to people. And furthermore, it sets up your reputation. I don't want to get biblical, but I do enjoy the story of Ruth and Boaz. And sometimes when people talk about it, they look at the romance. Oh, this woman, she found her great man. But really, the truth, that story is a great story of character because you see,
mm,
Boaz, he never saw Ruth, but he heard about Ruth. Her reputation preceded her. And what did
mm.
he hear? He heard about how she worked, how she got things done. And that's the same
Correct.
thing in procurement, right? Like when people, when our stakeholders, here, especially the technical folks on the technology side, right? Because oftentimes they don't think that anybody is as smart as they are. But when they find out that you are, that you do know what you're doing, you're interested in what they're doing, you understand what they're doing, then they're like, hey, yeah, you can help us. They trust you and they're willing
Yeah.
to collaborate. So I think, again, that collaboration, it stems from your reputation, and your reputation is created by how you show up. Okay. And when
How
you
you show
show
up.
up,
And that's through those five key virtues.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Miss Adele, would you like to add to what Miss Brown said?
Yes, I had the privilege in my healthcare career to manage some really large projects. And the value creation, in order to do something like this, I think that when you're innovating, research is probably the top priority. You need to understand the operations, the impact that your decisions or your implementation of the innovation could have on operations, that there's no disruptions, and that you understand the supply chain to the end to end. That the suppliers cannot pull the wool over your eyes. I have built successful strategic alliances with major suppliers, massive contracts. And when you do that, in order to mitigate the risk, it is exceptionally important to ensure that the service level metrics that you agreed with your internal stakeholders are achieved and
Mm,
mostly
mm, mm.
exceeded. And this is where I love with my team to say, under promise, over deliver, but stretch yourself. I don't like
Mm.
soft targets, so it is so critically important to bring both ends to the table, collaborate, and ensure you understand it end to end and align with trusted people. You will start delivering on a consistent basis, quality, and make impact. And that is the way to earn trust with your stakeholders, is by persistently insisting on fanatical attention to detail and to ensure that you cover your bases and not disrupt business.
Fantastic. Ankita, would you like to add to this?
Yes, I completely agree that, collaboration is the foundation of value creation in procurement. But in my experience, collaboration does not just happen automatically. It has to be, intentionally built. First is, understanding the stakeholder priorities. Like already mentioned that we are at the intersection of many functions, right? Real collaboration begins when, procurement takes time to understand what success actually looks like to the other stakeholders, right? Second, like I already mentioned, credibility and trust, right? Stakeholders will collaborate with procurement when they see that we bring insights to the table, whether
Mm,
it's supply market intelligence, risk mitigation strategies, or innovative supply solutions. When we consistently add value, it naturally becomes that we are a trusted partner. And third is bringing suppliers into the value creation journey. Suppliers often
that's a
have
good
very
insight. Yeah.
have often deep technical expertise, and when we treat them as partners rather than just vendors, they can unlock ideas and innovation. I would like to share a quick example. Like in one of the projects I worked on, the initial discussion with stakeholders was purely around cost reduction, Instead of approaching it only through negotiation, what we did, we brought the internal engineering team and the supplier together for a collaborative discussion. And interestingly, the supplier suggested a design and process improvement, which not only reduced the cost, but also improved the lead time and the supply reliability. So what started as a cost conversation actually turned into a much bigger value creation opportunity
Value
for the
creation.
business.
Correct.
Yeah,
You increase the size of the pie rather than
right.
just fighting for the pie.
Correct.
That's so nice. I mean, your case study actually helps us to appreciate that while we were talking about collaboration, the character of that procurement professional is equally important. And it's a critical aspect to become a procurement leader. I mean, it will be very good to hear Miss Adele and Miss Brown, if you could, because you both use that term called character in your talk today. What does it take to build a character of a procurement leader? Can I start with Miss Adele and maybe then I can go to Miss Brown?
Absolutely. I believe that the most successful procurement leaders are entrepreneurs at heart. They think outside the
Entrepreneurs
box.
at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You see things differently. You are resilient. You are inquisitive, like I think Ankita mentioned, forward thinking, anticipating what could happen, risks. I'm very risk avert. So to me, it's always about the risk, ensuring that the company is safe. And then I like to bring a strong sense of fun, because to me, the character is somebody, if you're inquisitive, you immerse yourself into your job, you're passionate, you drive the passion. Passion is your staff experience it and they show up better, So, yeah, that's what I believe. Entrepreneur, definitely.
So nice. Miss Brown, would you kindly add to that if you have something to add?
No, absolutely. I think the character again, I mean, to me, your character is what creates currency. Some people consider confidence currency, connection as currency, but it's character that allows people again to trust you. They know that you are fully aware of the risk, of the issues, of the concerns, of the needs. I mean, and you're showing up to provide solution. I mean, in fact, I think it's three things that a good procurement leader, I mean, we're here to serve because we're a service organization.
Yes.
And that's fundamental to what we do. And we're
Yes.
not here to police, but we are here to protect, so to speak. And we're here to provide solutions. And most of all, to add value. And certainly value creation is far beyond pricing alone. And so what I've been doing all my career, and I believe is most of us here, is kind of cradle to grave procurement. So from beginning to end, and we are also a part of the implementation. We don't just put the contract together and kind of go away. But again, that comes from how you approach it, comes from your values. And so
Comes from your values. I agree with you. And current environment that we all are passing through in the context of the world itself. I mean, in, I've never, I mean, in my 25, 30 years, seen straight up Hormuz being closed as it stands relatively now. Uh, I want to ask a very important question because we are at a juncture in the world of procurement as careers in procurement, where particularly in the current context of the world, which looks to us as a bit of hazy, crossroads may be the right term to use also if we wish to use that term. What I'm trying to appreciate today is there are things which are happening today which have never happened in the past, be it the disruption through the regional wars, be it the disruption through technology changes which someone is expecting, or be it purely through a decoupling of the global supply chains. Now, I am sitting here in procurement as a professional. I would love to hear from Ankita and maybe Miss Adele that what would be those key competencies that I should possess today, in your opinion, so that I become a better decision maker of future?
I think in
I
in today's world, procurement leaders are operating in an environment that is, far more complex and
Yes.
unpredictable, right, than ever before. Whether it is geopolitical tensions or supply chain disruptions, like you mentioned about the Strait of Hormuz, right? Decisions often have to be made with incomplete information. And in such an environment, I feel a few competencies become really important. First is, strategic thinking with strong risk awareness. So procurement leaders today cannot focus only on costs. We need to, constantly think about supply continuity, geopolitical risk, and the long-term resilience of the supply chain. Second is
Mm,
the ability to make decisions under uncertainty. In many
mm,
situations, we will not have, perfect data, but decision still has to be made. So we need to take decision on combined market intelligence, supply insights, and business priorities to make the balance calls. Third is collaboration, right? So
mm.
whenever some disruption happen, we cannot solve them alone. Aligning stakeholders across operations, finance, logistic, and suppliers become critical. From my own experience as a woman in procurement, I have found that certain qualities like listening deeply, building
Mm.
relationship, and looking at problem from multiple perspectives can actually be a real strength in decision making.
Very nice. I mean, listening deeply is something which is a very gender specific competence to have, and women have that in ample. Miss Adele, would you like to add to it?
Yes, I believe that women have a natural ability to multitask, which is critical in a procurement environment. I
Okay.
believe we have a stronger sense of intuition, and sometimes following your gut. If something tells you something's off, we're not afraid to ask. Um, Women ask questions. Ask a man if he's ever stopped for directions, and they say no. Us women, we ask questions. We are inquisitive. We want to know it all. So it gives us a lot more depth, and we tend to make more calculated decisions than just off the cuff. So that is what I believe. And I always say to my suppliers, please don't, I'm not asking you, if I say to you, we have to save 10%, I'm not asking you if we're going to save 10%, I'm asking you how. So
Mm,
it's also changing your questions and asking the right questions.
correct. Asking the right questions is very important and changing the context of that rather than asking for a 10% cost reduction.
Mm.
I agree with you. While we all are speaking about women in procurement and the focus is on women in procurement, I'll take the liberty of asking a question which is slightly generic than women in procurement, particularly to Ankita, because she comes from a geography called India, where currently we are undergoing a lot of localization initiatives. Indigenization in the decoupled world is a very important thing today. Uh, I'll take the privilege to make use of Ankita's presence today to appreciate from her about the localization because something that is a very important priority. What thought processes are going into that? What decision making variables are being used, or any other considerations? Because you're driving a lot of localization, Ankita.
Yeah, I think over the last few years, we have clearly seen, supply chains becoming far more fragile, whether due to the geopolitical tension or the logistic disruptions or, trade uncertainties. Because of this, now many organizations are looking more seriously localization as a way to build resilience. But when we talk about localization, I think it's important that, we approach it very thoughtfully, rather than seeing it simply as shifting suppliers geographically. I think the first question we should always ask, what problem are we trying to solve, right? Is it like reducing the supply risk, improving the lead time, or responding faster to customers, or meeting the regulatory requirements? Being clear about that objectives really helps the right strategy. The second consideration is the capability of the local ecosystem. Localization works well when the local supplier base has the required technology, the quality standards, and capacity. And sometimes it also means investing time in developing those local supplies rather than expecting immediate readiness. Another important aspect is looking beyond just price. Like while global sourcing might sometimes look cheaper, local sourcing can bring advantages like shorter lead times, stronger collaboration, and better supply continuity. So looking at the total value, not just cost, becomes very important. And again, like I said, I am a big fan of collaboration, and I think collaboration is very critical. Localization decision cannot be taken by procurement alone. They require close alignment with engineering, manufacturing, quality teams, and of course the suppliers. If I have to sum that up, for me, localization is really about creating a more balanced supply chain, not necessarily replacing global sourcing complexity, but building a supply network that is more resilient, responsive, and also closer to the markets we serve.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for that insight, because that's something that is even mentioned in the Economic Survey of India this year. This three-phased approach: import substitution, to supply chain resilience, to the third, which is you become part of the global supply chain as a indispensable supply chain partner. So that journey has been mapped very well in the Economic Survey of India this year's document. Uh, that first phase of that is import substitution.
I would like to add to that, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
In
why
South
not?
Africa, localization, not so much. We do have that in certain areas in South Africa where clients will insist on that. But transformation is a much bigger topic in South Africa. And for me, it's a balancing act. And again, exactly what Ankita said is you have to be thoughtful. You have to have a plan. You need to identify areas in the business where there's lower risks for you to start the transformation and gradually grow those enterprises. And what I enjoy of those enterprises is that it would probably be the most agile companies that you would build. They go the extra mile. Their service is usually much better, but it takes time to develop. But it is definitely a balancing act, and it's definitely doable.
So in South Africa, you are seeing transformation be the center theme.
Yes.
Oh, so nice. As we have navigated our last 35-40 minutes, diversified topics of discussion, the common thread that I'm hearing from all three of you is there are character to be built, collaboration, trust, which all are very close to procurement fraternity today. While I come to the end of today's talk, I will request each one of you to give me an insight. Assume that I'm a woman working in procurement today, and I wish to grow in this domain for the next few years. I have a career path in front of me. What differentiating competencies should I possess to navigate this career over a period of time now? Because we have next 20 years, let's say, for me to go. Maybe I'll start with Miss Adele, then go to Ankita, and we'll close it with Miss Brown.
So I strongly believe that the skills that you need for this is strategic influence. You need people that excel at stakeholder alignment. Then I believe relationship leadership. Procurement success is based on trust networks, consistently delivering. And then the one thing that is so important for women especially is the courage to lead. Don't wait to be invited to the boardroom. If you have a concept or an idea, put it to paper, ask for the opportunity. I was still very young in my career when I was asked to present or to lecture at the Stellenbosch University in Cape Town. And I immediately said yes and regretted it for the next 2 days. And then, it's just stepping up, show up. You know what? It might scare you, but if it scares you, it means that it's destined for you. You need to go
It
for
is
it.
destined for you. Absolutely.
Yes.
You have used the
Yeah.
term that Ms. Brown has used multiple times today. Show up.
Show up. Yeah. It's also, dress up and
Yeah.
show up.
Yes. Ankita, your thoughts, final thoughts on how do I, if I were to be a woman, build a successful career for the next 20 odd years?
I think women are, natural leaders, and there are certain strengths that women professionals can really leverage in this field. One, we can naturally build relationships, right? And procurement is a very people-driven function. So we work with multiple stakeholders and suppliers, and the ability to listen, understand different perspectives, and build trust becomes extremely valuable. Secondly,
Hmm.
I think women have this balanced decision making, right? We can look at
Correct.
various challenges, then take a more holistic view because we can think a lot. And that helps in making decisions that are sustainable to the business. And again, communication. We are all natural communicators, right? And a large part of the procurement is about influencing stakeholders and aligning teams. So, being
Correct.
able to communicate clearly and bring people together, right? It makes a big difference. And finally, like
Absolutely.
Adele and Miss Brown mentioned, confidence and self-belief, right? I think in my experience, stepping forward, speaking up, and trusting your
Yes.
judgment can really accelerate your growth.
That's a great insight. Trusting your judgment.
Mhm.
Miss
Well,
Brown, or
that's
your
me. Okay. Well, to wrap it up, these ladies have certainly said it all mostly, but I would just say three things. One, ladies, master your craft. Be competent. Be competent. And that competence produces confidence. And when you have the confidence, you have the convictions to be brave, to be bold, to be creative. Okay. Secondly, as Miss Ankita just said, relationships. That's it. And you need competence to have the confidence to build the relationships. Okay. And thirdly, I would say your reputation. Protect your
hmm,
integrity. Okay.
your
Procurement.
integrity. Yeah.
Yes, procurement. I mean, uh we are the nucleus of the organization that keeps the organization straight to me. And so
Hmm.
let nothing move you. Do the right thing. Don't be afraid to. And if you lose the opportunity, another greater one will come. Okay.
Please come.
So
So nice. Fantastic. I mean, it has it has actually made me feel that when excellent panelists like you start sharing your insights, something comes naturally. I don't think this was a prescription. This was something that came very naturally to all of you today. Uh, Thank you so much for joining in. I highly appreciate all that you spoke today. I have a habit where I always ensure that I learn something from every conversation and try to document it for myself. Uh, I've just jotted down a few points which I will probably use as summary for the day. Uh, Throughout our talk today, first and foremost, I think we all appreciated that we all start at somewhere at the bottom. I mean, you start as a buyer and then you progress as a journey. What does it take you to progress in that journey? I think I heard it from Miss Brown, Miss Adel, and Miss Ankita that be natural. I particularly noted this saying that stand back to look at the canvas. More important is appreciate what your leaders want and be brave. I'll never forget the 5 C's that Ms. Brown talked about: character, competence, collaboration, communication, and creativity. That's a beautiful way to summarize procurement leadership for women. I also appreciate that when we were talking, we said, look, we may belong to different continents, but values remain universal. Values don't change. Ankita gave a very nice perspective. She said that, look, understand business beyond procurement. And I heard it multiple times in the last 40, 50 minutes of our talk. Trust is very important. Now, how do you build trust is something that we have to think about. And stay curious, take ownership. We talked about something which is very unique by Ms. Brown again about the 5 key virtues. Uh, what Ms. Adele said has actually become the cornerstone for me because she said, look, you need to achieve your SLAs. You don't build trust out of thin air. What does success mean to your stakeholders? Bring new perspectives to the table. Uh, I think Miss Ankita said it very clearly that collaboration is her most favored word in the world of procurement. I also appreciate that one thing which has really resonated very well today with me is entrepreneurs at heart. And that's what Miss Adele gave us. She said, look, all procurement professionals are entrepreneurs are at heart. Continue to be inquisitive, be forward thinking. The punchline which I have noted down for myself by Miss Brown is character creates currency, and that's very important. It's the character that creates your currency. Uh, Listening deeply seems to be very common as a theme that I heard from all three of you as very peculiar to women. Uh, Natural ability to multitask, intuition. Women ask more questions, and hence they tend to be better at making decisions and more importantly, calculated decisions. Uh, the question that I had in my mind, because I knew Ankita is into localization initiatives, I wanted some insight on that, which I gained today. So she gave a very good insight saying that, look, localization is about what problem are we trying to solve. Let's not only talk about cost reduction. We should try to appreciate the capability of our current ecosystem, which is the local ecosystem, go just beyond price, uh, collaborate, and more importantly, the whole objective of localization she summarized is create a more balanced supply network. Miss Adil gave a very nice twist to it, saying that, look, while in India you guys are talking localization, in South Africa our focus is transformation. And our closure is something which is the high point of the day for me because we talked about what differentiating competencies should a woman possess to build her career today. The key terms are strategic influence, excel in stakeholder management, create trusted networks, show up, courage to lead. And women have a natural tendency to build relationships, is what I heard from you guys. Fantastic. When we closed, I noted only 3 points: master your craft, build relations, and have a great reputation. I've tried to summarize the 50 minutes in less than 3 minutes, but I'm going to take this away from today's talk. Privileged to host you today. Let me be honest and transparent in this. Absolutely privileged. I mean, the kind of insights that you three have offered, it's worth the pain to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning US time and record this for all of us. Thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you. This has been a pleasure.
yes.
It was a
Thank you.
great conversation, Pinak. Thank you for being a wonderful moderator today.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate everything you're doing for the profession. I think that you guys are being catalysts for change. And I really hope it is taken like that sincerely. I think we need some disruptive thinkers in the industry. I thank you for what you are doing to contribute to the industry. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much for being a part of this wonderful conversation. And I have no words basically. People from 3 continents joining in and spending 50 minutes on a weekend is something amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.